Let's talk about formatting the text of a shortcode. So when it doesn't output HTML, but instead just outputs maybe a word or a combination of words, you can use the parameter or the attribute for the shortcode called text formatting. And it's just txt fmt. So if I go to our shortcodes page and we go to the mem contact shortcode, for example, and I scroll down here, what I'll see under parameters or attributes is text format. And this is similar to any PHP text formatting, but basically if the name comes out, and let's say the name's all in capital letters or all in lowercase letters, or maybe there's inconsistency in your system where some people did their first names one way and some another way, but you wanted to make it consistent, this is where you can define how you want that handled. So if you click the little question mark there, it's got a whole bunch of options, and I'll just describe a couple that are pretty common. So like I said, if you're familiar with PHP, this will look really simple to you, but if not, just understand it's going to go left to right in the processing order. So you can see in the example there in parentheses underneath that it says txt fmt equals, and what that stands for is string to lower, meaning the string of characters, make them all lowercase, and then comma UC words means uppercase the words. So not uppercase every letter, but uppercase the first letter of each word. And if I find those on this list, so here's string to lower, it's basically saying make the output lowercase, so that way if it was all capital letters, they'd all become lowercase letters. And then UC words will just uppercase the first character of each word in a string. So this way, if it was Joe Schmo, it would take that whole thing and it would lowercase everything, and it would uppercase the J on the word Joe, so just the first character, and then it would find the next word Schmo, and it would uppercase the S on the word Schmo. So that's a pretty combination. If you do want to use text formatting, that's probably one of the most common. And so what that would look like if we go to one of our pages, this mem contact where we're saying give us the first and last name, separate it by a space, I would just add another parameter here that says text format equals string to lower and then uppercase the words. And that's why I said it goes left to right. You can put as many of these on there as you would like, so you could format it quite a bit. But it's going to run this format and then take the result of that and run this format and take the result of that and then run the next formatting. Similarly, there's a lot of options for formatting a date. And again, it's just like PHP date formatting. But if we jump back to this mem contact shortcode, and let's say instead of getting the first name and last name, let's say we were trying to get the birthday, for example. And then we wanted to format the output of the date of the birthday. If you come down here, you can see date underscore format as another attribute or parameter you can apply. And if you click there, you'll get a bunch of options. So you can scroll through and you can look at each individual option here. And it might look a little bit wonky, but I'll show you an example. So if I go over to my test page and I log in and I go to one of my test pages here, you can see this date is formatted and it says May 15th, 2017. That's because if I go to the edit view of that page, I had a shortcode that was pulling a date out of the system, and then it says date underscore format equals. And because there's spaces here, I definitely wanted to use the quotes around it. But I said F, which stands for full. And if you look at the date formatting page here, you can see the month values full. And then the next part about the day, I used a J and an S, which basically means what day of the month is it without leading zero. So it's not going to be an O1. Which is what you can see happens here. And then the S stands for the suffix, and that's something like first or second. So that's how I got this 15th here. And the format I'm using here is pretty common, the capital F and then space lowercase j capital S. And then the capital Y is just going to stand for the full year. And you can see if I bounce back to my date formatting, that if I went down to the year values, you can also do, for example, a lowercase y would give you the 2-digit. There's more to it if it were a date and time. You can also format the time. But just to give you an example here, so I've also got up here this example, and we'll get into that in another one where I'm capturing, but let's just say I grabbed this and I duplicated it and I used this other example, which is full year, little month, little day with dashes. So if I put that there and I paste it in and I hit update on my page, and then I go over here to my test page and I refresh it, you can see it's giving me the full year, the regular month, the regular day with the dashes. So that's basically it for formatting text. Again, you can format any sort of string of text you want. There's different ways to do it, and you can combine different types of formatting. And then if it's a date, you can use that regular PHP formatting stuff to make the date look how you want it to look.